Did you know? The reason you can't save money doesn't fundamentally relate to how much you earn, at least to a certain extent. The classic book on improving financial intelligence we're diving into today, The Richest Man in Babylon, contains a core idea that might upend your perceptions. It tells us that our so-called necessary expenses will always grow to match our income, unless we take active control. This book is an instruction manual for the laws of money, with its most fundamental rule being, start saving for yourself immediately, even if it's just 1/10 of your income. Because in the past, you've been working for everyone, except yourself. Then, let every penny you save become your money slave, generating a steady stream of income for you.
Sounds simple, right? But simple doesn't mean easy. The most shocking thing about this book isn't the laws themselves, but the stories of people who missed out on great wealth due to procrastination. As the book says, opportunity is a proud goddess who never waits for those unprepared. So today isn't just a book sharing, it's a call to action. We'll learn the book's wealth escape plan and turn it into a modern wealth map you can use directly. If you're tired of waiting and eager to take action, stay focused. Together, we'll learn to control money with a free soul, rather than being enslaved by it. At the start of the video, we touched on a harsh truth. Our inability to save money might not be fundamentally tied to how much we earn. Behind this lies a deeper reason, a cognitive blind spot most of us never recognize. The starting point for solving all wealth problems must begin with answering this fundamental question: who are you really working for? You might wonder, what kind of question is that? Of course, you work for your boss, your clients, your company. That's true, but that's precisely the crux of the problem. Let's look at the first case study in the book, Bansir, a skilled chariot craftsman whose work was the finest in the city. By rights, he shouldn't struggle financially, yet he lived in poverty, with nothing to his name. He and his friend, a talented musician, faced the same dilemma. They worked tirelessly, trading time and skills for pay, but the money vanished as quickly as it came, spent on food, clothes, rent to the landlord. In the end, nothing was left for themselves. This is the wage earner mindset most of us are trapped in. Our core logic: time plus skills equals income. In this model, the only way to earn more is to work more hours or increase our hourly rate. Essentially, we're selling ourselves as a commodity to society. Our work creates value for others, and we trade that for a salary to survive. No wonder Bansir asked the powerless question: why do we earn so much yet only scrape by? He focused only on earning, not retaining. He failed to see that the fruits of his labor flowed to others. He was a pipeline for money, not a reservoir. So what's the correct cognition? Let's look at another case in the book, the protagonist, Arked, who later became the richest man. Arked started even lower than Bansir. He was just a humble scribe. But he did something entirely different. When he had a chance to trade wisdom with the wealthy moneylender Algamish, he didn't ask for a higher-paying job. He asked for the wisdom of wealth, wanting to fundamentally change his financial situation. The first and most fundamental lesson Algamish taught him directly answered the question we posed earlier. Algamish said, "You've been paying everyone except yourself." Pause and let that sink in. When you get your salary each month, do you first think about paying credit cards, mortgages, and bills? You give money to banks, merchants, platforms, paying everyone who provides goods and services. They use your money to build their own wealth, yet you, the creator of it all, put yourself last, or forget to pay yourself entirely. Thus, the first lesson Arked learned was to completely reverse this order. Algamish told him to save a portion of his income. The real meaning: pay yourself first, before anyone else. Set aside at least 1/10 of your income, without fail. This money isn't what's left after spending, it's your top priority salary. This act is the starting point of a capital mindset, with the core logic: capital times time equals more capital. When you save your first sum, you gain your first capital. Your identity shifts from a laborer trading time for money to a capitalist making money work. You're no longer just working for others, you're building your own wealth empire. So the first step of our wealth journey isn't even an action, but a complete cognitive shift, from a worker who only trades time for money to a capitalist who thinks about making money work. Saving 1/10 of your income is the first and most important ritual to complete this identity change. But we'll soon face a practical problem. Knowing to save is one thing, but controlling the urge to spend, ending up with nothing each month, is another. This is where our automatic saving system comes in. In the next section, we'll analyze the engine of wealth accumulation, exploring how the book uses two simple, effective methods to help us resist our consumption instincts and build our first wealth reservoir. In the previous section, we achieved a critical cognitive shift. To get rich, first mentally transform from a worker to a capitalist. The first ritual of this shift is paying yourself first, without fail. But then comes the most realistic, stark problem. I know the logic, but I still can't save. Each month, after paying bills, little is left, self-control fails. What to do? This problem shows we lack not the will to save, but a system to fight our nature. Next, we'll analyze the book's powerful wealth accumulation engine. This engine has two core components. Once built, saving becomes as automatic as breathing. The first component is forced saving, the 10% principle we've emphasized. But we must turn it from a slogan into an iron rule. The book uses a simple metaphor. Put 10 eggs in a basket each day, take out only 9. The result? The basket will eventually fill up. Finance works the same. Lock 10% of your monthly income into a separate account, regardless of circumstances, and wealth accumulation is guaranteed. This 10% isn't just money, it's the inlet of your wealth reservoir. No matter what, keep this inlet open, even if the flow starts small. But an inlet isn't enough. Our desire to spend is like invisible cracks in the reservoir's bottom. This requires the engine's second core component, active budgeting, to plug those cracks. Why is budgeting crucial? The book reveals a profound insight into human nature, which we might call Parkinson's law of finance. Our so-called necessary expenses, left unchecked, will always match our income. In other words, your spending will expand to consume all your income. Think about it. Earning 5,000 yuan, you think 10,000 will make life good. But when you earn 10,000, you want a better phone, pricey skincare, annual trips abroad. Desire always outruns income. The book warns us not to confuse needs with wants, yet most of us treat endless desires as justified necessities. Budgeting is a scalpel, helping us cut out desires disguised as needs. It's not about asceticism. Instead, it ensures every coin is used to its full value. It forces you to examine each expense and choose. Is that daily expensive coffee more important than your financial freedom? Is that impulsive purchase more reassuring than a growing bank account? With forced saving and active budgeting, our wealth accumulation engine starts. The former ensures steady fuel input, the latter ensures efficient energy use with no waste. Your finances shift from an uncertain black box to a predictable system. Now, our wealth reservoir fills, no longer leaking, our pockets grow heavy. Feels great, right? But a new question arises. Should we just let the water sit, proud of rising levels? No, stagnant water generates no energy. We must make it flow to generate power, to irrigate. This leads to the third and most exciting step of our wealth journey, making money work for you, turning your reservoir into a hydropower station generating endless energy. Next, we'll explore the wealth growth engine, learning to make our money slaves create a steady stream of passive income. In the previous section, we built a wealth accumulation engine through forced saving and active budgeting. But a new question: should we let the water sit, proud of rising levels? No, stagnant water generates no energy. We must make it flow to generate power, to irrigate. This leads to the third and most exciting step: making money work for you, turning your reservoir into a hydropower station generating endless energy. The core of this concept is another identity shift. In the first section, we went from worker to capitalist working for ourselves. Now, we move from a hands-on capitalist to a general commanding an army. Your army is every coin you've saved. The book uses a powerful, recurring metaphor. Every penny saved shouldn't idle in your wallet. It's your first money slave, which you can command at will. Your task: be a wise master, send them out to work 24/7, bring back more slaves, and make money work for you. Abstract. Arkad's first successful investment in the book illustrates it best. He lent his first savings to Agar, a shield maker, who needed capital to buy bronze, make shields, and profit. When done, Agar returned the principal plus interest. Notice, Arkad kept working as a scribe, but his saved money wasn't idle. His money participated in value-creating economic activity, shield making, and shared in the profit. This is the oldest, most essential form of investment, letting your capital join value creation and take a cut. The growth engine's most terrifying power is self-replication, compound interest. Your money slaves not only work, but have children, who become new slaves, birthing more grandchildren. The book shares a striking example. A farmer saved 10 silver coins for his newborn son with a moneylender, earning a quarter interest every 4 years, with interest reinvested. Guess what it grew to in 50 years? 167 silver coins, nearly 16 times more. This reveals two core secrets of compound growth. First, reinvesting earnings as new principal. Second, and most importantly, time. Early growth seems minimal, testing patience. But over time, as your slave army grows, wealth explodes in a J-curve. Time is this engine's most critical fuel. Once you experience money earning while you sleep, your mindset shifts. You'll care less about salary and more about asset income, passive income. As Arkad said, a person's wealth isn't measured by coins in their purse, but by the golden river of income flowing into it. Your goal isn't a full pool, but an endless river. Excited to send your money slaves out to conquer? Wait, we've lit the growth engine, but without brakes or shields, it's not a money printer, but a boiler ready to explode. Investing means risk. How to ensure slaves return with treasure, not vanish, or drag you down. This introduces the most important hurdle in finance: risk management. Next, we'll shift from attacker to defender, learning to build unbreakable walls for our wealth empire. We'll analyze the survival map of the wealth continent, avoiding deadly traps. In the previous section, we learned to be wise masters, sending money slaves out to bring back more through compound magic. It seems our wealth empire is nearly built. Soon, we'll enjoy wealth created by slaves. But a master's greatest risk: not too few slaves, but losing hard-earned slaves sent out. They might run, be tricked, or die from your bad commands. Your empire could collapse overnight. Thus, after learning to multiply, we must master a higher lesson: risk management. The 5 laws of gold we'll analyze are essentially the money slave management and risk control manual all masters must study. It teaches preventing escape and ensuring safe, efficient work. We'll use Nomathar, the rich man's son, as a negative example to see how an unqualified master lost all his father's first elite slaves. The first pitfall, in the manual: Law 5: don't send your slaves on impossible tasks. Nomathar's first mistake: trusting scammers, sending slaves to a high-stakes horse race. He thought it'd double his slaves overnight. Instead, they never returned. The manual warns: Forcing slaves to chase unrealistic gains or risky ventures, lured by sweet talk, will cost you them. The second pitfall, Law 4: Don't send slaves to fields you know nothing about. Nomathar's second mistake, handing remaining slaves to an inexperienced overseer, sending them to an unfamiliar worksite. He knew nothing about it, couldn't tell fertile land from swamps. Result, slaves fell into trouble, heavy losses. The manual warns, sending slaves to unknown fields or letting amateurs manage them leads to escape or exhaustion. After losing all slaves, Nomathar finally read the manual, learning to be a qualified master. The first and most important rule, always keep at least 1/10 of slaves by your side. This is your core guard, strategic reserve, untouched, no matter how big the business. They're your comeback capital, ultimate security. Rule 2. Find safe, productive estates for your slaves. Wise masters seek profitable, reliable, steady return projects, so slaves bring back more. Rule 3. Hire top stewards. Core of risk management. Before sending slaves to new estates, follow Rule 3, entrust them only to experienced, knowledgeable stewards, experts. Their wisdom is your empire's firewall, identifying most risks. Thus, the manual's core. A master's first duty isn't endless exploitation, but smart protection and allocation of slaves. Do this, and your empire stays unshakable. Now we've learned to recruit and manage slaves, but the harshest question, what if we have no slaves, even wear debt chains, treated as slaves? Worst start, but fear not. The book offers a detailed self-liberation guide for this. Next, we'll see how a true slave broke chains with a plan, building their own empire. In the previous section, we learned to be wise masters, managing money slaves to multiply via compounding. Our empire seems built, soon we'll enjoy their wealth. But what if your hard-earned slaves never return? They might run, be tricked, or die from bad commands. Your empire could collapse overnight. This is the worst possible start. Every penny you earn has to be prioritized to pay your debt master, leaving you with no chance to recruit your first money slave. You toil for this master day in and day out, with no end in sight. But fear not, for the book offers a detailed guide to self-liberation for slaves in such situations. This guide comes from Dabasir, a camel merchant, and his story is perhaps the most inspiring and empowering one in the book for those trapped in debt. Dabasir was once a complete debt slave, drowning in debts from reckless spending. Like many of us, he chose to escape, fleeing his hometown under the delusion that out of sight meant out of mind when it came to his debts. But this is a slave's most foolish thought, for your debt master does not vanish because you leave. On the contrary, they grow stronger unseen, wielding interest as their most powerful weapon until you can no longer fight back. Eventually, after suffering even greater hardships abroad and even being sold into actual slavery, Dabasir narrowly survived a desert ordeal and finally realized a revolutionary truth: the first mindset shift all debtors must make. He recognized that your debts are your enemies, hounding you and robbing you of peace, but your creditors, the ones who were willing to lend you money in the first place, are actually your allies. This mindset shift is crucial. We often fear creditors, panicking at collection calls and seeing them as enemies too. But in reality, they are potential allies in your escape from debt, for you share a common goal, getting you to repay what you owe. So instead of avoiding them, you need to approach them with a clear, sincere, and feasible plan, saying, "Give me some time, and I guarantee I'll repay you according to my plan." We're in this together. So what is this magical plan that even creditors are willing to support? It's the 10-70-20 Financial Restructuring Plan, inscribed on clay tablets by Dabasir, and one of the book's most valuable practical strategies. This plan divides every income into 3 slices, like cutting a cake, each with a clear purpose. The first slice, 10% of your income, is tasked with paying yourself, igniting a spark of hope. Yes, you heard that right. Even deep in debt, Dabasir's plan insists you must set aside 10% of your income without fail. Why? It may seem irrelevant to repaying debts, but this is a masterstroke of psychology. This money represents your future hope, declaring to your heart and the world, I haven't given up. I'm not just a slave to repayment. I'm gathering strength for my future. Only by having savings do you gain the true motivation and confidence to clear your debts. Otherwise, you'll sink into hopeless despair and eventually surrender. This 10% is the key you secretly forge to unlock your chains. The second slice, 70% of your income, is responsible for sustaining you and your family. Repaying debts doesn't mean living a hellish existence. You must ensure you and your family have food, clothing, and shelter. This 70% is your survival baseline, ensuring your debt repayment journey is sustainable, not a short-term ordeal of starvation, which would quickly lead to retaliatory spending and undo all your efforts. A slave seeking freedom must first have the strength to survive. The third and most critical slice, 20% of your income, is tasked with systematically attacking your enemy, debt. Dabasir listed all his debts, large and small, in clear detail, then each month allocated this 20% proportionally among his creditors. This seemingly insignificant act carries immense power. First, it demonstrates your sincerity and determination to your creditor allies, most of whom will then be willing to grant you time and support. Second, it breaks down the overwhelming goal of repaying all debts into small, visible monthly tasks. Each payment is a small victory, like filing away at your chains bit by bit, until one day the entire chain snaps. This 10-70-20 plan is a perfect guide to self-liberation, the 10% savings as your spiritual anchor and future hope, the 70% living expenses as your physical safeguard, and the 20% debt repayment as your weapon, all supporting one another, non-dispensable. It was with this plan that Dabasir steadily cleared all his debts, used the 10% savings to build his first pot of gold for his future camel business, and ultimately turned his life around to become a respected merchant. So no matter how burdened by debt you are now, remember Dabasir's guide. He teaches us that defeating debt isn't about how much you can repay in one go, but whether you have a sustainable, systematic plan and the resolve to start acting immediately. Now that we have a solution even for the heaviest chains of debt, we seem to have cleared all tangible obstacles on the road to wealth. Yet two more insidious and stubborn inner demons await: the negative mindset that blames bad luck and the burnout that makes us loathe work. How do these quietly hinder us without our noticing? In the next section, we'll delve into our inner selves, analyzing our true relationship with luck and how the book teaches us to overcome this major psychological barrier. By now, we've mastered systems for accumulating wealth, learned rules for avoiding risks, and even obtained a plan to resolve debt. Theoretically, our path to wealth is clear, but many still harbor a lingering thought: I understand all the principles, but I'm just unlucky. Successful people caught the trend or were born lucky, right? We love to attribute our setbacks to bad luck and other success to good fortune. This lets us accept our situation complacently, excusing inaction, but it's one of the most stubborn psychological barriers holding us back. The book devotes an entire chapter to exploring the truth about luck. Its wise sages tell us that the so-called goddess of luck is not a blindfolded figure randomly distributing wealth. She is a highly selective, even snobbish venture capitalist, holding vast wealth and opportunities, but only investing in those she deems worthy. So what kind of people does the goddess of luck favor? Her sole investment criterion, repeated throughout the book, is: good luck favors only those who prepare for opportunities and dare to act when they arise. Let's examine two classic How to Perfectly Miss a Fortune cases from the book, and you'll see that the luck we claim to have lost is often pushed away by ourselves. The first case shows how procrastination drives the goddess of luck away. A merchant's father urged him to invest his hard-earned 10% savings in a promising land development project, a golden opportunity to launch his wealth. But what did the merchant do? He hesitated because he and his wife wanted to spend the money on fancy new robes brought by Eastern traders. No hurry, I have plenty of time, he thought, putting the investment off. By the time he remembered, the project had long ended with far greater returns than anyone imagined, leaving him to regret while wearing his fine new robes. Was this bad luck? Not at all. It was a clear choice, long-term asset investment versus short-term pleasure. He chose the latter. The goddess of luck handed him the key, but he told her, "Wait, I'm busy with something else." Sorry, her time is precious, she won't wait. Procrastination is the ultimate disrespect to opportunity. The second case illustrates how indecision scares her off. A livestock merchant encountered a farmer hurrying home, who offered a large herd of fine sheep at an extremely low price. Completing the deal and reselling in the city the next day would triple his profit, but the merchant missed the chance due to a rigid obsession. He couldn't count the sheep in the dark, so he insisted on waiting until morning. No matter how the poor farmer begged, offering a slave as guarantee, accepting partial payment, the merchant remained inflexible. The next morning, as soon as the city gates opened, other merchants swarmed out and bought the sheep at a higher price right in front of him. Was this bad luck? No. It was a classic failure due to excessive perfectionism and lack of decisiveness. Opportunities have short windows, requiring courage and flexibility. The merchant's rigidity and indecision made him watch as the goddess of luck walked past, shaking her head. These stories reveal the truth about luck. So-called bad luck is merely a synonym for procrastination and hesitation. We wait for the perfect moment when everything aligns, but life-changing opportunities often come with flaws and vanish in an instant. Thus, the book teaches us that the true formula for attracting luck isn't prayer, but luck equals preparation plus action. What is preparation? It's what we discussed earlier, having available funds through saving and budgeting, gaining wisdom to recognize opportunities through learning. What is action? It's overcoming inner procrastination and fear, boldly reaching out when opportunity knocks. Thus, the truth about luck is no mystery. It's not aimless waiting, but solid preparation and decisive action. By managing our finances, saving, and learning, we become prepared, and the goddess of luck will naturally come knocking. But all preparation and action rest on one foundation: our ability to create value. If our earning power is weak, even opportunities will slip through our fingers for lack of capital. So how do we fundamentally enhance our ability to attract opportunities and create wealth? This leads to our next core topic: nurturing our most precious asset, ourselves. In the next section, we'll analyze the book's profound insights into work and how to turn our daily efforts into our strongest wealth-growing engine. By now, we seem to have cleared all external obstacles on the road to wealth, yet we often overlook a fundamental question: what is the source of sustained income? A profitable investment? A rising stock? No. The book tells us that the source is ourselves. Each of us is a goose that lays golden eggs. All the financial skills we've discussed, saving, investing, risk control, teach us to manage the eggs we work so hard to lay. But in this section, we return to a more core question: how to care for our own goose, for only a healthy, well-nourished goose can keep laying large, bright golden eggs. So how do we feed our golden egg-laying goose, making it stronger and more productive? The book's answer may challenge many modern beliefs. Treat your work as your best friend. This contrasts sharply with today's slack-off philosophy, or the idea that working is just making money for the boss. But consider Charu Nada, the book's business giant, whose life perfectly embodies this view. Where did Charu Nada start? As a slave, the lowest of the low, a frail, vulnerable goose. But he made a crucial choice. He did not see work as a curse or slack off. Instead, he heeded a wise man's advice, resolving to love his work and excel at it. As a baker's slave, he didn't just bake bread. He learned to make popular honey cakes, even found ways to sell them on the street, creating more value for his master. What happened in this process? First, through hard work, he honed his skills, fattening his own goose. Second, his proactive attitude caught the attention of a patron, his future business partner. Orodgula valued not just his cakes, but his fierce drive to excel. Ultimately, this work-as-friend attitude freed him from slavery, launching a remarkable business career. The book also warns us with a cautionary example, Zabado, a fellow slave of Sharunada, who embraced the slack-off philosophy, thinking laziness was smart. The result? He was sold to labor on city walls, the hardest work, and died miserably. Thus, the book imparts a profound truth. Your job is far more than a salary source. It's your most important training ground to enhance your value, sharpen your abilities, build your reputation, and attract opportunities. Every effort you make at work, every pursuit of excellence, is not for your boss. It's feeding your own golden goose, investing in your future. As the book states, the more knowledge and wisdom we acquire, the more wealth we can earn. We've learned to feed the goose, but equally important is providing a safe, stable environment for it. A goose living in fear and instability cannot lay good eggs. Thus, the book mentions 2 key points for creating a proper environment for your goose. First, build a warm, comfortable nest for your goose. Owning a home brings immense psychological security. No more fear of eviction, no more hassle of frequent moves. This stability lets you focus more energy on self-improvement and career growth. Second, build a strong fence around your nest. Specifically, secure future income by preparing for risks. What if your goose gets sick or grows old and stops laying eggs? We need to plan for pensions, secure insurance, and build a strong firewall to protect ourselves and our families from unexpected risks. Thus, investing in yourself is a complete system. It includes enhancing core abilities through proactive work and continuous learning, and creating stability through home ownership and comprehensive protection. Do this, and your golden goose will keep laying wealth throughout your life. By now, we seem to hold all secrets of wealth, from foundational cognition to systems for accumulation, growth, and defense, to nurturing ourselves as the core. Yet one final, ultimate question remains. What is the purpose of all this? Is it just to watch bank account numbers rise and feel proud? Of course not. Wealth without serving a higher purpose is meaningless. In the last section, we'll explore the book's deepest wisdom, the ultimate meaning of wealth, becoming a person with a free soul. We've learned all the laws of wealth, but one unavoidable final question lingers. What is the point of it all? If wealth's end is merely more wealth, it's a hollow pursuit. The book offers an ultimate answer. We pursue not money, but freedom of the soul. The book repeatedly poses a question. Is a soul free or enslaved? An enslaved soul has nothing to do with one's occupation. It's a state of being controlled by debt and desire, passively enduring life and complaining bitterly. A free soul, by contrast, masters its desires, keeps its promises, proactively plans for the future and takes responsibility, and feels self-respect, thereby earning others' respect. Thus, the richest man in Babylon is not about becoming merely rich, but about mastering money to become a worthy, free person. Wealth is simply the inevitable reward for winning this freedom and self-respect. So start today. Take your first step toward spiritual freedom. It could be as small as tracking an expense or saving your first 10 yuan. Begin your great journey with a tiny action. Thank you for watching. See you in the next book.